It's AR the Equalizer, the data scientist of boxing, spinning the block for another breakdown. Let's get into it. In today's video, we're going to be highlighting the underrated and underappreciated skill set, overall skill set of Oleksandr Usyk, the former undisputed, you heard me right, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion from the years 2018 to 2019, being the first boxer in the cruiserweight division to hold all four major world titles, that being the WBC, the WBO title, the WBA title, and the IBF title. The IBO title, it isn't recognized as a major world title as of yet, but you heard it here first. You probably have heard many other boxing channels say it, but you're hearing AR the Equalizer say that I believe sometime soon the IBO will be recognized as a major sanctioning body along with the WBC, the WBO, the WBA, and the IBF sanctioning bodies. That being said, Oleksandr Usyk currently is the reigning unified heavyweight champion of the world, holding four titles, three major world titles, that being the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, being the three major sanctioning bodies of the titles that he's holding. And he also holds the IBF heavyweight championship title. So if he's to win and take that WBC strap from Tyson Fury, he'll be the first, right? He'll be the first heavyweight to hold 5 titles, unified at once. Put some respect on Oleksandr Usyk's name. Put some respect on Oleksandr Usyk's name, the Ukrainian professional boxer, the Ukrainian, right? Put some respect on his name. I know that he's not American, so a lot of people don't give him his just due. He upset Anthony Joshua twice, which goes to show the skill level and capability that he actually has. But before getting into the actual breakdown of the skill set, I will say that the heavier weight divisions, that being, I'll say, cruiserweight and heavyweight, those weight divisions for a long time has lacked a deep talent pool. And Oleksandr Usyk's reign goes to show that there's really not much talent in both the cruiserweight divisions and the heavyweight division. And I say that respectfully. Outside of Tyson Fury, I don't see too many other heavyweights that's truly skilled that you can include on a pound for pound list, even if you were to allow the heavyweights on the list. As I've stated in previous videos, many different videos, the pound for pound list was created to shine light on the lower weight classes, on the lighter weight classes, to give Sugar Ray Robinson his props. It really should be called the Sugar Ray Robinson list. You know what I mean? For it was created to give him his props as the best skilled fighter in the world, although he wasn't a heavyweight. For the heavyweights ran all of boxing for a long time, since boxing's inception with the Queensberry rules of England, you know, going way back to the late 1800s. Heavyweights have always ruled boxing until the Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather era, right? I say that respectfully. You know what I mean? But that being said, even if you were to include heavyweights in the discussion for pound, I don't know if you can put anybody that's not named Tyson Fury or Oleksandr Usyk on that top 10 pound for pound list? If so, that's a heavyweight. Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Talk to me, right? But with no further ado, we will get into the overall skill set breakdown of the unified heavyweight champion, Oleksandr Usyk, which I have him rated overall at a 91.44%. You heard me right. And that's not any slight, that's not disrespect for what boxer is 100%, people, overall. Name one boxer that's 100%. There is no boxer that's 100%. Every boxer has some type of limitation or flaw that brings down that overall skill level. I did a video on Floyd Mayweather, rated him at 98%, and I probably showed him a little too much love. But still, I think overall, skill for skill, that's about fair. You know what I mean? So 91.44% for Oleksandr Usyk overall rating. If you guys are familiar with the channel, if you aren't familiar with the channel, but for those who are, for those who aren't, I'll say what the skill pillars are. There are 4 skill pillars that I weigh the overall skill set by. The first being boxing form, right? The second being physical capabilities / conditioning. The third being intangibles. The fourth being strategy execution. And we'll get into the first skill pillar, which is boxing form, which I have rated overall at 91%, and I'll explain why. We'll get into the boxing stance. I have his boxing stance rated at 88%. For there is 4 skill components that make up the skill pillar of boxing form. So the first one being boxing stance, I have rated at 88%. For Oleksandr Usyk has great stability, a foundation from the southpaw stance. He's the southpaw Evander Holyfield. He has great stability of foundation from the southpaw stance, maintaining balance and posture consistently. Now, many of you may be puzzled at the 88% overall rating for boxing stance. You may be puzzled at it. Why isn't it higher? Why isn't it 100%? Why isn't it 95? Why is it 88? People, we have to understand that, one, the way I rate these boxers and break them down, I'm comparing them to everyone, the all-time greats. I'm comparing them on an all-time scale. I'm not just comparing Oleksandr Usyk to active heavyweights or active cruiserweights. I'm not just comparing him to active fighters. I'm comparing him to Muhammad Ali. I'm comparing his boxing stance, every skill component of his, to Joe Frazier, Jack Dempsey, Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, everyone. You know what I mean? Everyone. Rocky Marciano, you name it. Sugar Ray Rock, I'm comparing it all. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the all-time scale, that should give you a clear picture of why I'm so strict with these ratings. Now, at 88%, that's a B+ all day long. It's not to say that his boxing stance is bad, right? But I have seen Oleksandr Usyk off balance at times, but consistently throughout the whole fight, he's really good from the pendulum boxing stance. For those who may not be familiar with the term pendulum, and as it pertains to boxing stance, that's the Manny Pacquiao boxing stance. That's the Sean Porter boxing stance. You know what I mean? That's the Evander Real Deal Holyfield boxing stance. That's the rhythm. You know what I mean? That's the rhythm to let off shots. Because when you're on your toes, when you're bouncing on your toes, you can get off more punches successively. You know what I mean? You can get off punches faster than being flat-footed to set up power shots. You feel what I'm saying? So I give the boxing stance of Oleksandr Usyk 88, solid B+. We'll move on to the next skill component under the skill pillar of boxing form, which is proper footwork. And I've rated at 95%. For Oleksandr Usyk has elite understanding of foot positioning for cutting off the ring against elusive opponents, effective counterpunching, and setups for power shots. He's great at what he understands foot positioning. And a lot of times as a southpaw, you're going to be going up against righties, the orthodox stance. You know what I mean? So very rare, on rare occasion, will you go up against another southpaw. But in the southpaw versus orthodox matchup, in a southpaw versus orthodox matchup, it's all about who wins the foot battle. Who wins the foot battle? And Oleksandr Usyk, he showed us this against Anthony Joshua. I mean, he showed us that is so many levels to this boxing thing, even at the heavyweight division. And right now, in my opinion, he's exposing the lack of talent in the heavyweight division and also the cruiserweight division. But I say that not to slight or disrespect his accomplishments, for he is undefeated and he's looking good in victory. He's looking good. He's doing it with style. He's doing it with class. He's a class act, very likable guy. You know what I mean? He's great. He's a great champion. Although he's not American, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to give him his props and still root for him to be great. No, be great. Be the first 5 title holder for the heavyweight division. Be the first to do it. I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. So, you know, when it comes to this footwork thing, he got it. You know what I mean? He understands where to position his feet at the right time. Though he's not the fastest footed guy, he moved pretty quick for a big guy. You know what I'm saying? For a guy that's 220 pounds, 6'3", he's pretty fleet-footed. He can get out of the way. He's not sloppy at all. You know what I mean? Oleksandr Usyk, he's very sharp for a heavyweight. The sharpest heavyweight that I've seen since the Holyfield era. Mike Tyson them. You know what I mean? I'll even say a Lennox Lewis. You know, Lennox Lewis, he was a little bit more flat-footed and calculated and working behind the jab. But it's been a while since I've seen a very sharp heavyweight. Usyk is that, moving up from the cruiserweight division. Who does it remind you of? Evander, Real Deal, Holyfield. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is hand positioning for defense and offensive attacks, which I rated at 93%. For Oleksandr Usyk has elite understanding of punch retraction for defense against counter punch openings. His hand positioning is immaculate. You know what I mean? I'm not loose with 100%. So I'm not going to say that it's 100% and he's just on point. He's just flawless. He never gets hit. And he's always in position to attack when he sees an open. No, I'm not going to say that, but still, it's up there. It's only 7 basis points from 100%. That is extremely high. You feel what I'm saying? Extremely high. I love the way Oleksandr Usyk is disciplined to keep his hands up, to keep his hands in the right position, whether it's in the high guard or from the chin. You know what I mean? Watching the body language of his opponent to see where he can land his shots. For Oleksandr Usyk, he's never looking for the knockout. If it comes, cool. If it comes, cool. Right? That's his game plan. If the knockout comes, he's okay with it. But he's not looking for it. He's looking to outbox his opponent. He's looking to display skill, and I love it. Hand positioning for defense and offensive attacks, 93%. Moving on to the next skill component, we have proper punch form, which I rated at 88%. Well, AR, why isn't it 90? Why isn't it 95? Now I'll say this respectfully. He snaps his punches. He punches correct. You know what I mean? He punches correct. But him being such a bigger guy, a lot of those punches, the form doesn't come off as crisp. Proper punch form is all about the crisp and the snap of your punches. You know what I mean? Not so much of speed, but the form of it. He has good form. Is it the greatest form that I've ever seen? Ask yourself this. Does Oleksandr Usyk have the best punching form? Right? The best punching form that you've ever seen. If you got to question it, that should let you know it's not 100%. I say a B+ because I've seen better. Even at the heavyweight division, I've seen better. Ali, he struggled with throwing a proper hook, but his jab, it was great. It was great. Was it the best form? Did he always snap it? It worked for him. It was effective. It was great. You know what I mean? Evander Holyfield, he had great punching form. Was it the best? Not all of his punches had full extension on it. And, these are heavyweights, so I'm not expecting for them to be punching like a middleweight or a welterweight, a lightweight. You know what I mean? Those lighter weight divisions, they seem to have the crispier, snappier punches. Maybe it's the hand speed. Maybe it's the explosion, right? For him being a heavier guy, I'm pretty sure he's lifting weights and everything. And heavy lifting, it can alter the way you snap your shoulder if you know anything about boxing. So proper punch form, I give 88%, a solid B+. We'll move on to the next segment, which is the second skill pillar, physical capabilities / conditioning, which I rated at 88.71%, solid B+. First skill component, stamina, I've given an 86%. Let me explain the detail of it. Stamina is lung capacity for high volume punching and movement around the ring. This isn't to be confused with endurance. Endurance is your durability to last throughout the entire fight while maintaining overall energy. Stamina is lung capacity for high volume punching or any type of volume of punching, right? And movement around, lateral movement, leg movement around the ring. Really, it's your threshold for each sequence. If you throw a 1, 2, 3 and you slip to the right. After you throw your left hook and you slip to the right, that's all one sequence. That's 4 moves, one sequence. What's your stamina threshold for that? So it's not to say that 86%, it's not to say that Oleksandr Usyk gets tired, he gets winded, and he's not in good condition. Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it is solid, it's decent. A C is average, a D is pretty bad, and the F is failing. It's terrible, right? I give them a solid B, it's decent. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is endurance. I have rated at 95%. For Oleksandr Usyk has the durability to last throughout a 12-round fight whilst maintaining energy. He's a heavyweight, 1, and the man can go the distance, 2. The man can go the distance, right? He's a heavyweight and he can go the distance. And even in the 12th round, he's not overly, he's pushing himself, he's willing himself, he has that durability. He has the dog to fight still. You know what I mean? We've seen it so many times throughout his cruiserweight run, and even his heavyweight run. Going the distance with guys and holding up with endurance, outlasting his opponent. 95% endurance. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is overall strength. I've rated at 88%. For this is the capability to utilize body weight and strength to stand against clinches and inside fighting, right? This isn't to say that Oleksandr Usyk is weak. You know what I mean? He's not a weak guy. He's not a weak guy, then especially at the heavyweight division. I know that he's moving up from cruiserweight and he's the smaller guy, right? the smaller guy, but he's 220. He's making that weight. He's making the weight. He's well over he's not barely 200 pounds. He's not like a Roy Jones that went up to heavyweight and was 191. You know what I mean? It was 191. No. The man is well over 200 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing of him being, he's smaller than a Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, but he's a decent size heavyweight, 6'3". That's decent. Muhammad Ali was 6'3". That's a decent size heavyweight. A small heavyweight is Mike Tyson, 5'10". You hear me? So the overall strength, I don't see him as the strongest guy in the ring. That's not to say that he gets muscled and bullied either. He can hold his own, but is it the greatest strength that I've seen? Have I seen guys that's stronger than him in the ring? Absolutely. Strength doesn't win you fights. It's a good skill component to have. It's a good tool to have in your toolbox, but it's a lot more that's required to win a boxing match. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is punching power. I've rated at 89%. For punching power, the detail of this skill component is one punch knockout power measurement and capability, bruising and damaging capability. 89% for Oleksandr Usyk. Play with him if you want to. He could put a hurting on you. Yes, he's coming up from cruiserweight. Even at cruiserweight, he went the distance with guys. He wasn't just blowing guys out and knocking them out the water, but still the power was respectable. You couldn't walk through him. He doesn't have pillow fists or anything. He's not always going to get a knockout. He's not always going to have the greatest knockout highlight reel. You know what I mean? But he could still put a hurting on a guy. You know what I'm saying? He's capable of stopping someone if it comes to it, if the opportunity presents itself. But he has solid, respectable punching power. And 89, that's actually high. B+ in punching power, that's very high. You know what I mean? Much respect to him in the punching power department, 89%. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is hand speed. I've rated at 87%. For the description of hand speed is hand speed of punches thrown with 8-ounce to 10-ounce gloves. He's a heavyweight, so of course they have 10-ounce gloves, and he has considerable and very decent hand speed. Rest my case there. We'll move on to the next skill component, foot speed, which I rated at 88%. For him to be a heavyweight, for him to be 200 plus pounds, this is a great rating for foot speed. He's not the fastest guy in the ring, pound for pound, right? Pound for pound, he's not the fastest guy in the ring. Could he out foot speed a bantamweight? Can he out foot speed a lightweight? Absolutely not. The lower weight classes will always win, more than likely, in the foot speed department over a heavyweight. That's just what it is. And vice versa. A heavyweight will always win in the punching power and overall strength department over those of lighter weight classes. Do you guys feel what I'm saying? Do you feel what I'm saying? If you feel what I'm saying, salute. Just salute me. You know what I mean? We'll move on to the next and last skill component of physical capabilities / conditioning, which is punch resistance. And I have rated at 88%, B+. It's not many moments in his career that he has shown visible weakness, but there are moments. I'm not going to say he hasn't been wobbled or hurt, knocked down. He's been knocked down. He's been in trouble at times. Joshua even got him in trouble in the last round of the 12th round of the first matchup. Joshua came on strong late. He hurt, like Usyk's been hurt. Usyk, he's been hurt by Archibetabev in the amateurs. And I get it, it's the amateurs. We discount the amateurs. We discount anything that's done in the amateurs. We love to glorify the record and the amount of fights, but we discount anything that's done in the amateurs. If somebody beats somebody in the amateurs, it don't matter because it ain't professional boxing. I get it, but still, you know, he's been hurt by Archer Beterbiev in the amateurs. He's been hurt early in his career. He's been hurt by Tony Bellew. You know what I mean? He's been hurt by some guys at cruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? Not often, but there has been times where he's shown, you know, some vulnerability in the chain department. And that's not to say that he has a glass jaw. I'm not saying that. He can take a punch. He can hold up to it. But the punch resistance, how resistant is he to getting hit flush? I don't know. I'm not gonna put it in the 90 range. No, I won't put it in the 90 range. It's a high 80 range. It's a B+ for him. You feel me? We'll move on to the next skill pillar, which is intangibles, which I rated overall at 91.75%. The first skill component being head movement, 97%. For Oleksandr Usyk has superior capabilities of slipping punches with timing and movement of the head. I said superior capabilities. I said superior capabilities of head movement. If you ever watch him fight, he's in that pendulum stance. You know what I mean? He's swaying back and forth, but at the same time, he's taking that Zelle Lomachenko type of, you know, herky-jerkiness. Steady moving the head, good waist movement. That should be a skill component. Waist movement, great waist movement. He is slippery and he's hard to hit, just head up. Not, you know, flat-footed and from the shoulder roll. I'm not talking about slippery and hard to hit in that regard. Standing still and slipping punch. I'm talking about in your face, head up. He is hard to hit. And he actually trains with Zelle Lomachenko, right? They like brothers. They are like brothers. Oleksandr Usyk, he has terrific head movement. Terrific. You know what I mean? And you can see the semblance, the similarities between him and Zelle Lomachenko just from their stance and how they move their waist and their head. You know, Zelle Lomachenko, he has great head movement, good waist movement, understands, you know, foot positioning. And come on, man, this Zelle Lomachenko, like some of the best footwork you ever seen in your life. You don't think that's gonna rub off on your boy? Oh man, give it up for the big guy. 97% in the head movement department. And I'll say this, I'll say that the intangibles, Oleksandr Usyk has the best intangibles from cruiserweight up to heavyweight. That's why he's outsmarting these guys and they can't do nothing with him. You know what I mean? He has the better intangibles. He has the better head movement, anticipation of punches and combination punches and counter punches. He got all of that over all of these guys, even over Tyson Fury. I said it. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is anticipation / effective blocking, which I rated at 95%. For Oleksandr Usyk has the superior ability to anticipate incoming punches in order to catch the shot. You feel what I'm saying? Superior. The ability is superior. 95%. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is effective combination punches, which I rated at 85%. Right? I'm not loose with my ratings. He's solid. And notice that anything that's not in the 90s, I'm still giving them respect to give it a solid B or a solid B+. You know what I mean? It's no B- with this guy. It's nothing south of 85. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to DC Young Fly. It's nothing south of 85 with Oleksandr Usyk. You know what I mean? Effective combination punches. The description of this skill component is the ability to throw up to 5 or 6 punches effectively for connection on opponent. Oleksandr Usyk, he can string punches together, but at most I'm seeing 4. 4 punches, he reeling back. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's gonna be a double jab or a triple jab and a straight left hand down the pipe. You know what I'm saying? Or a looping hook and an angle. You know what I mean? But I see 4 punches max. I don't see 5 and 6 punches or more strung together in one succession. You know what I mean? In one motion. And it's no slight. Like, not everybody are combination punchers. You know what I mean? I don't doubt that he can string together all of those punches, but why? Because the more punches you throw, the more open you're leaving yourself to be countered and to be knocked out. You know what I mean? So it's no slight. This is no disrespect. It's just that this ain't even his game. But still, it's solid if he wanted to do it consistently. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is counter punching. I have rated at 90%, A-. For Oleksandr Usyk has the elite ability to attack immediately after opponents open. Just look at his cruiserweight run. Look at him in every fight. He's the better counter puncher. He's not getting out counter punched. He's the better counter puncher. He's the better calculated guy. He's waiting for his man to make a mistake, and it's actually easy to capitalize on those mistakes because a lot of these cruiserweights and heavyweights, they ain't got it. They just ain't got it. They got the strength, you know what I mean? They got the punching power, but that skill that Oleksandr Usyk possesses, they not on his level, man. And it shows. He unified, champ. Put some respect on his name. We'll move on to the next and last skill pillar, which is strategy execution. I've rated at 94.33% overall. The first skill component is pace dictation, 95%. For Oleksandr Usyk has the superior capability to either speed up the pace of the fight or slow down the pace of the fight, whilst not becoming overwhelmed and out of control. 95%. Solid A. Whenever he's in that ring, that pendulum rhythm, if you can't catch it, he's dictating that pace. Even if you can catch it, he's still dictating the pace. You have to keep up with him. You have to account for Oleksandr Usyk. He can be in there with Tyson Fury. It's still the same thing. You have to account for the small guy. Fury up against the two top heavyweights out of the top three, himself included. Who else can dictate the pace of a fight who is a cruiserweight or a heavyweight against Oleksandr Usyk? No one. Anthony Joshua couldn't do it. Who else can do it? Andy Ruiz? I don't think so. We'll move on to the next skill component, which is awareness of opponent strategy. I rated 93%. For Oleksandr Usyk has the elite ability to understand opponents' punch patterns, punch output, punching range, and perceived advantage. 93% for awareness of opponent strategy. He's a smart guy. He's a thinker. He's unified champ because he's outsmarting these guys. He's outthinking these guys with intangibles and strategy execution. The last skill component of this whole thing, opponent weakness exploitation, which I rated at 95%. For this is the superior ability to nullify opponent's strengths with various tricks and abilities serving as an offset. This guy, man, he got it. Foot feints, right? The foot feints, the herky jerky, the pendulum rhythm that he has. You know what I mean? Jumping in and out, exploding on combinations, scaling back, not exploding, fighting off the back foot, coming back forward. Like his ability to exploit his opponent's weakness, this is all underappreciated. I mean, the physical capabilities, conditioning, and you're like, that other stuff is cool, and that's what we look at. We're enamored with punching power, overall strength, brute force, knocking people out, and how fast is this? We're enamored with that, but if you really pay close attention to this guy's intangibles, right? Intangibles, the head movement, his anticipation skills, counter-punching ability, his ability to dictate the pace of a fight, awareness of the opponent's strategy, and the weakness exploitation of his opponent. Man, it's superb. All of that is elite and it's superior. It's like some of the best out of all boxers in the world. if not the best. It's a case that he may be the best with executing his strategy, man. Like he's up there, and I give him all the respect. And like I said, man, overall his skill set, in my opinion, it's all opinion based, but I'm giving you the facts still. So what is it? What that make it? A hypothesis. It's the data sciences, baby, of boxing, man. Act like you know. 91.44% overall skill set for Oleksandr Usyk, the unified heavyweight champ, the former undisputed cruiserweight champ. Put some respect on his name, man. You add up his boxing form, 91%. You add up physical capabilities / conditioning, 88.71%. I'm sorry. You add up intangibles, 91.75%. You add up strategy execution, 94.33%. Divided by 4, for it is 4 skill pillars. You get 91.44% overall skill set rating. Some will argue that it's higher. Some would say, oh, that's about right. You can't say it's any lower than that. It's fair. It's a fair assessment. It's a realistic assessment. No fanboyism. I'm not a fan of man. I'm a fan of boxing. You heard? I'm a fan of boxing, right? But it's been real, people. Smash the like. Smash the like if you enjoyed the content. Share this with your boxing community, with your boxing friends and family. Please share the content, man, for I'm keeping the heat coming. I'm breaking this stuff down realistically, unbiased. It's all love. It's all for the love of the sweet science. Smash the like, man. You know, if you're interested in hearing and seeing more content, subscribe, hit the notification bell. But it's been real. It's AR, the equalizer, the data scientist of boxing. Until next time, we out.